Residents of the Ukrainian capital have spent another night in shelters, underground parkings and metro stations as Russia launched a massive overnight attack on Kyiv using ballistic missiles. And this is what was happening outside of those shelters. Ukrainian officials say the Russian bombardment killed at least 5 people and wounded dozens in the capital and its surrounding region. Homes, warehouses and a children's hospital have reportedly been hit. Power supplies have been disrupted in some areas and people are said to be trapped in one of the city's bomb shelters. An air raid alert has been issued for most of Ukraine as other parts of the country were also under attack. Well, let's speak to Matthew Schmidt, Associate Professor at National Security Department, University of New Haven. Good to speak to you, Matthew.
Good morning.
Another very intense night, a fatal night for some. I mean, this is terrifying times for people of Ukraine.
My heart goes out to Ukraine, especially to the citizens of Kyiv and what they've been through tonight. Unfortunately, it's probably going to continue because the capacity to have the ballistic missile interceptors, particularly the PAC-3s, is going down. Ukraine is basically at the bottom of its inventory, and Russia is increasing its production capacity of the missiles that are striking Kyiv right now.
Yeah, and Ukraine, is it vulnerable at this point? There's a lot of conversation about what Ukraine is lacking as opposed to how it is advancing.
Yeah, Ukraine, like I said, probably has a dozen, maybe a couple of dozen interceptors swirled away for strategic sites. They're not going to use them unless they really, really have to. Zelensky himself has said that he thinks they need about 300 PAC-3 interceptors just to get through the winter. The total production of those interceptors last year was 600. So it's really hard to see how Ukraine is going to meet that immediate need. NATO is trying to scrounge some up from constituent countries. Canada has offered some, but we don't know the numbers yet. We don't know how fast they're getting there. And we see attacks like tonight. We know they're not there yet.
Yeah, and of course, President Putin, Moscow are keenly aware of this. They'll also be watching what's going on within Ukraine and the politics, and Ukraine's popular ex-defense minister Mikhailo Fedorov, who is calling for wartime elections. To what extent does that also weaken President Zelensky as he tries to, fight against Russia?
Not sure it does. Fedorov is definitely emerging in the last few days as a political challenger to Zelensky, but Zelensky has been saying for some time, hey, if I have to step down to save my country, I'm happy to do it. And the bottom line on this is politics is happening in Ukraine. This is what makes Ukraine Ukraine and not Russia, right? Mm-hmm. People are on the streets. They're not getting arrested. They're not getting shot. Fedorov is there. He's able to engage in political speech and to organize. And so it's actually a very healthy sign for the country overall, whatever kind of immediate headache it may pose for the Zelensky administration.
Yeah, sure. So actually, it's as you say, it's a sign of democracy in motion and in action in Ukraine, as opposed to what we're seeing in Russia. Matthew, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Matthew Schmidt there with his take on what's going on in Ukraine.